Hey everybody, it's Steph from Destination Exploration here with another Technology Thursday post for our At Home with DE series. Today we're going to be creating digital music using a program called Sonic Pi. So let's get started. Alright, so the first thing that we need to do in order to create some digital music is head over to the Sonic Pi web page and download the application. So it's a free application, very easy to download. It's for Windows and Mac and actually Raspberry Pis as well if you've got one of those lying around. But we're just going to work off of the apps today. So the first thing we need to do is head over to sonic-pi.net and it'll lead you to this page right here. So this program is very simple to use. There's lots of things that you can do and explore, and essentially it's used to live create digital music, which is awesome. But we're not going to get there right away. We're going to this is just the basic and the intro to how Sonic Pi works. So again, the first thing we've got to do is we can't do it on the web, so we have to download it. You can choose one of the 3 operating systems. So I'm working on a Mac, so I'm just going to click this. Brings me down to the bottom of the page, and of course we've got the download button here. If you are working on a Windows computer, it's actually going to bring you just up here and you can install it this way. So you'll probably be installing it with this one right here unless you're doing it on a portable device, which is what this first option is. Okay, so we're just going to press download. Simple, jumps on over to our download screen. And what you're going to do is be able to install it onto your computer. So I've already got it installed. We are ready to go. It's going to look like this. We're just going to open it up. All right. So this window right here is Sonic Pi, the application. It's going to look the same wherever you go. And let's just take a tour around everything. So this main workspace that you see in the middle here is where we're going to do all of our coding. You can see that it's got Welcome to Sonic Pi right here. And just like when we do other text coding, it's got our line numbers down as we keep going. Okay. Up at the top is some very easily accessible commands. So like running the program, stopping the program. You can record your music that you create and save it and load it and so forth. Down here or over here on the right hand side, we actually have ways to increase the text size. So just in case you can't read that tiny text, you can make it a little bit bigger like this so that it's a little bit easier to see. You've got the scope, which is actually this window right here. We can toggle it on and off depending on whether this is pink or not pink. You've got the info screen. That's just what kind of software you have. Just this standard window. And then the help and preferences. So if you start getting fancy with it and you have your own presets, you can create and modify all those over in the preferences. But we are really going to be looking at this help window here. So the help window, you actually see toggles the bottom bar. So this bottom bar can be raised so that it's bigger so that we can see what's going on. And it has all these different tutorials. So if you did want to expand from what we do today, you can follow along with this and it just shows you essentially everything you need to do. It has the codes and you can learn lots of cool stuff. Okay. It also at the bottom here has these different tabs that we're going to take a little bit of a closer look at as we go through, but that's what these are here. So we can toggle that. And then we've got the log of actually what's happening. So everything as you press play will show you what's going on. And then this grayed out bar right here is actually what we call, they're just different buffer windows. So if you do read a tutorial and it says go to a new buffer, it's just one of these. And so you can just scroll through them and it's just different workspaces. So you could have multiple things going on at once, which is pretty cool. So you can test things out in another buffer and then go back to your music sheet that you are building in another. Okay, so let's get started and let's try some stuff out. So this video today is just gonna be a really simple basic start on how to get going, but from it you should be able to be able to figure out some other stuff in the meantime, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna delete all this. You can see that if there's a hash in front, it just means it's a comment. So just like other programming languages, when there's a hash in front, it just means that the rest of it's a comment and the code, it won't read it as code. It just skips over it, okay? So we're just gonna delete that and we're gonna start off and we're gonna very simply just press play and then we're gonna type 60. So you'll notice that in Sonic Pi there are different colors. So when you've got a blue text, it means it's a number. Orange that we'll see are loops, and then pinks are different functions like we see down here, okay? So if I just go play 60, you should be able to hear just one sound. You can see the scope changes and our sound waves come up. We can see the runtime. We can see the synth. So the synth is just like the default sound. So that's what this beep is, and the synths will be able to change those later on. So I've got play 60, it's just one sound. Now, what if I wanted to play more sounds? Or what if I wanted to go play 62? And I press run. Oh, I get kind of two notes at the same time. So what's actually happening is that Sonic Pi is reading this and it's running both kind of one after the other, but our ears can't hear the two different notes. So what we have to do is we have to add this pause into it, and the way that that works in Sonic Pi is just called sleep. Okay, so when we put sleep and then a number, it just means that we're pausing for that number of seconds. If I do sleep 1, it means I'm going to play the first sound, pause for a second, play the second sound. So let's see what's happening. So you can see that there's now two different sounds. So with that, we see one note, a pause, and then another note. Now, you'll notice that because I've changed these two numbers, I actually get different sounds, different notes. So in the digital interface of music, we actually have something called an MIDI value, or an MIDI note, okay? So MIDI stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface. So if you think of a piano, your entire keyboard has all these different notes. It has like middle C, and you've got different octaves and all things like that. And if you are a music person and I'm sounding like a crazy person, that's probably true. I don't have any formal music background, but I do know that we have different values for C. There's not just one note that's C. So we have like a C4 is like your middle C. And so that's actually represented by the value 60, which is pretty cool. So you'll notice that this play 60 is the C note, and play 62 is the D note. So I've got these notes here, and there's cheat sheets that you can use to basically, if you knew what note and you were transcribing some sheet music into the Sonic Pi program, you can just go in and find those values. But if you don't want to do that, you can actually, Sonic Pi will recognize those notes as well. So if we go in here and we do play, and this time instead of pressing 60, I use semicolon C4, which is the C4, which is basically middle C, we can actually get this same note. So if I get rid of this play, it should have actually play the same two notes. Okay, but this time you'll see that it's pink, which means it's a function. So it's actually calling a function within Sonic Pi, pre-made function, and it's playing it there. It's returning it as a sound. Okay, because you'll see that when we look at our log, it's showing that it's note 60 and note 60, which is what we've just pressed up here. Okay, so you can actually go in. So if you're familiar with the music scales, you can plop it in there. Again, apologies if at any point in time I am butchering the musical terminology. I play music, but I don't have any formal training, so don't hold it against me. Okay, so we're gonna do that. Now let's try and play a couple of notes all together. So if we do play 62, and then add in some sleep, which is a pause, and then play 64. Well, let's go 64. Sleep, play 65. And so what you'll notice is I'm actually just going up the scale. So it'll be C, D, E, F, G, A, B, going through. So right now, 65 is an F note. And let's go sleep 1, play 67. Now, what you'll also recognize is you're like, why are you skipping some numbers and not the others? This I do know. If you think of a piano, we have numbers in a scale. You've got white keys and black keys, and so the black keys usually represent sharps or flats, depending on what you're playing. But if you'll notice, so if you think of a piano, you're actually going to go C, and then C sharp, then D, and then D sharp, then E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, B. No, oh, A sharp, B, C. So B and C are together, and E and F are together. So those are the kind of the way the scales work. Okay, so that's why you've got like 3 black keys, 2 white keys, 2 black keys. Okay, so that's just the way that the scales work. So essentially, if I go like this, and I'm just gonna finish off my scale here. So we're gonna go play 69, sleep 1, play 71, and then back up again to the C, which would be 72. Okay, so now if I play this. Okay, so we get a lovely C scale, C major scale. But if we wanted to speed up that scale, what we're going to do is we're actually going to lower the pause. So again, these are registered in seconds. So let's just make it a little faster. So we're going to do half a second, which is 0.5. Now in Sonic Pi, if I just press 0.5 and I press run, I'm going to get this error. So I get this big error block, everything goes pink in the middle. So this is just a way that it'll help you debug your code if anything goes wrong. So this actually says, oh, put a 0 before the dot in the sleep 0.5. So it just means that when we have this value, it does actually need to have a leading 0. So it has to go 0.5. Okay, so it's 0.5. And so again, it's just like a regular word processor, so we can copy and paste. So I'm just using Command C, Command V, or Control C, Control V. I'm just gonna copy these in here, save some time. Awesome. Now, when I press play, it should go, my debug should go away, and I should play through. Awesome. So again, if I went in and I made this a 61, we can see those sharps. So let's try that. Okay, so it goes through and you can actually manipulate there. So if you do have sheet music, you can transcribe that into a digital sound. So you could play your piano like this. All right, so let's try that. And we're gonna move this back to where we were before. And I'm actually gonna take all this away and let's try putting in something like this. Sleep 0.5 and then play 60. Sounds familiar. So this is actually the beginning part of Farajaka. And what we, instead of having to type all of this out and show each individual lines, we can use loops. Just like we've done in other coding languages, it's the same idea here. So whichever is inside like these bounding boxes, it'll replay all of that. So in Sonic Pi, there are 2 different things that you can do to create a loop. So the first one is if we just press enter, so we're working above it. The first one, so if I Farajaka, this repeats 2 times. So we're gonna go 2 dot times do, and then at the bottom, press an end. So you'll also see that it does the indent, just like we're familiar with other coding languages. And so when I press run, it'll go through this twice. Easy peasy. Now, if I want something to just loop forever, all I gotta press or type in is loop do. Same idea. Looping all the way through until I press stop, and it'll go through there. Okay, so we can check the log in there if things are going wonky, but that's what we can do here. So we're gonna go 2 dot times, and that just means it's gonna loop twice. We're gonna make sure that we have the do in front and the end at the end. Okay, and keep those indents in there. It should do the indenting for you even if it doesn't do it right away. So once you press run, it will trigger that indent for you as it goes, okay? So that is very simple looping. So we're gonna jump over to a new buffer and we're just gonna delete this comment up here. So what we're gonna try out now is using and exploring some of the samples that come pre-made within Sonic Pi. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do 2 times do, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go sample, You can see all this predictive text that you can choose if you'd like, but we just want the regular sample. Do a semicolon. We're going to do loop underscore amen, and then press enter. Add in a pause, so a sleep 1.753 and an end. Okay, so what we're doing here is this sample is something that we can check all down here within our help. So there's a whole bunch. We got snare drums, percussion, electrical sounds, all these crazy things. And so like we can do the electrical soft kick, all this good stuff. We are in the sounds for looping, which means they're just solid loops that will keep going. So there's a couple that you can choose from and play around with. Okay, but so let's check out what this one sounds like. Sounds pretty cool. So now we've got a backbeat, which is awesome. So we've got something there, like imagine some like crazy hip hop Farajaka coming in. So if we do this, we can go in and we can actually try some different ones. So let's try Safari. And what about breakbeat? This is my fave. Sounds a little wonky. Let's add that loop forever so we can hear it. So listen to when the sound gets repeated. It kind of doubles up. So what we have to do is we have to adjust this sleep value. So so we're seeing that it's looping before it's actually finished, so let's bump it up. So let's try 2 and give it a go. So not quite. It's kind of pausing and then restarting. So we've paused for too long. So if we go in, this is where you can use your ear and some trial and error to create the right value for how long this loop is. Okay, so I'm going to go into sleep 1.9 and give it a try. All right, that sounds great. Now, what if I wanted to do this loop as my backbeat to Frere Jacques? So what I can do is I can jump on over here, and look at that, I've already got my code. I can copy and plop it in underneath here, and let's give it a try. So if you notice, it's only playing this loop, and it's looping it forever, except it doesn't actually ever get to the part that I want to play Frere Jacques. So the way that we can play 2 different sounds at once is using an in-thread loop. So what we can do is we're just going to jump in here, so we'll give this some space. We can keep this loop do forever, but this time we're going to put it in this bounding thread loop. So we're going to go in, comma, thread, do. So again, it's just a loop. And then we're going to add one more end at the bottom here. And now, so now we've got the loop breakbeat playing all the way through as my Frere Jacques starts. Except, let's listen to that Frere Jacques again. Is it playing on the same beats? It's a little wonky. It's not quite on the right beat that we want it to. So this is when we're going to change these sleep values again. So I figured it out, and it is 0.475. So it's just this one was just a little too fast, or it was a little too slow. So we're going to go 0.475, 0.475, 0.475. Now, when I press, I'm going to do this as well. I'm going to do in thread do, and that way everything is going at once. Add in one more end. All right, so there it is playing there. Let's add it. Let's like have it going forever, and then you can just jam out to it. Hopefully you're wearing headphones, because it's fine when you're listening to it, but you're getting probably pretty annoyed by this sound just listening to me. All right, so So now we've got these like deep synthesizing Frere Jacques notes on top of my like hardcore street breakdancing music. Don't really go. So let's change the effect that those notes are playing at. So like I said before, if we look over here, the synth is the beep, which is the default value that Sonic Pi will work on. What we can do is we can actually change that so that we can have a sound that's a little bit more cohesive with the backbeat that we've got going on here. So same thing in my thread down here, I'm going to add in use underscore synth. So the default is just this beep. We can see that the synth over here was beep. So I'm going to use synth, and then I'm going to do a colon, and then again you can see all of these awesome effects that we can add, or sounds. Okay, so if I wanted to do like a growl, let's try that. So my pauses or my sleeps values don't really work with that one. Let's try an FM sound here. Okay, so we can add in these different loops. So we can jump down here to effects or to synths, and we can see all the different ones. So let's try out maybe Hoover. That is it. So you've got the very basics of Sonic Pi right here. So again, you've downloaded it to your computer. You have first learned how to even play notes. We've learned that we can take regular notes that we're used to on sheet music and turn it into MIDI values. We have then looked at using loops. We've got synthesizer sounds. We've got sample loops that we can use to create backbeats. We've used the in-thread functions to show two different sounds at once, and we've changed the value of our synth to create different sounds to match our loops. So that is the very basics of Sonic Pi. There's lots to explore within here, but that should get you started. Hopefully you make some awesome beats. If you make some cool sounds, record them, send them to us, and show us some awesome beats, because I always need some nice chill out music. And there you have it. I hope you had fun exploring with Sonic Pi and creating some awesome sounds. Remember, headphones are an awesome choice when working with Sonic Pi for the rest of the people in your house. Remember, there are other tutorials that we've got on our channel as well, so make sure you're subscribed and check out the other videos we've got going. But until next time, we'll see you then.